Ryan, the Disc Golf Dad. I'm out here at Seneca Creek State Park. It looks incredible, never been here. Lots of holes, looks very challenging, so let's get it.
Alright, so this is hole 1. Pretty simple. It gets a little tricky when you get into the woods there. Pretty decent shot, but it got knocked down. Didn't get down on it enough. Alright, so this is actually a pretty tricky up shot. You can see just how many trees there are. And so for me, I'm always going to go to my forehand if I need something that I can depend on to hit the line that I want. And that's a good putt for me because I've been struggling a lot lately.
Alright, so I think I played the short hole actually, the short pin, not hole, but short pin on that one. It's a little, of course it's a little on the confusing side if you're new here, but you saw the sheer amount of trees on that first hole. I have a feeling this is going to be a rough day, but we're going to keep at it.
Alright, so hole 2 here, pretty simple actually. Just a small gap right here. And I pured it. KJ USA H1 V2. Just needed a little bit more distance. Kind of let the upshot get a little bit away from me, leaving myself a bit of a putt. I think I'm about 25 feet or so right here. And I surprised myself again and hit another putt. Honestly though, that's been the thing that has been killing my game lately, has been my putting. So to hit 2 decent putts for me right off the bat was awesome. So hole 3, really tight, gets down there. Using that same disc, cut right in between 2 trees.
So I think I'm learning future recorded rounds. I'm gonna try to make sure I have someone with me, because using this monopod and not a tripod, it's kind of hard to find spaces where it's flat enough to where it's gonna balance on this monopod. So I've had to get pretty creative. But hey, lessons learned, you know. Yeah, so anything to get some better footage. Well, let's see if I can find my disc. Alright, so you can see I'm a little sweaty. I just spent like 30 minutes searching for my KJ USA H1 V2. That's amazing. It cut off and went over that way when I threw. And I just found it right freaking here. Right next to the basket. Right there. I don't know how it got there. No clue.
Alright, so after that lucky roll, I've got this not too far putt. It's only like 22 feet, but I do have to have a little bit of a straddle. And that's been more of the norm for me. I didn't commit to that putt, which made me miss it. Pretty upset there because I had a really awesome opportunity to get a birdie. Alright, so hole 4. Hole 4, very tight line here, and you need to keep it straight for quite a while if you want to be able to park it. And I yanked that. But sometimes it pays to be lucky, and a little bit of a tree hit there knocked me down, still gave me a pretty decent shot.
Alright guys, check it out. New guy here. Hey buddy. What's up? Just for reference, here's my foot. He's a big guy. Hey buddy. What are you doing?
Alright, so this is definitely circle 2. and didn't give it enough air. It's kind of been my issue on those longer putts lately, is not getting enough air underneath them, not really even giving them a chance. I think it's probably because I've been struggling with the shorter putts, so I don't want to give myself a big comeback. But either way, I was able to get the par with a very lucky shot getting clean through on that right side. But I'm already starting to feel the heat on the course, but we'll see. Hole 5, this one is long, and actually a pretty simple hole. Something that I feel like I should always get the birdie on. And again, I yanked it. I was trying to bite off a lot there. I've started to get a lot more distance on my backhand, so I was trying to pure that gap and see if I couldn't give myself a jumper for the like 100 feet out or so for the eagle, but I simply just didn't get over on it, and I was like millimeters away from being out of bounds here, but got a little bit lucky and couldn't find a good angle to show the shot, but at least I'm able to actually see me release it here. Didn't end up as good as I had hoped, but luckily it's a par 4, so I should be able to save my par. I love the effort put into making a nice bridge going across this little creek here. Let's go find the disc. Alright, so I caught a tree. I was actually looking like it was going to be a good spot, but I caught this tiny tree as the disc was starting to finish its flight. A little short on the upshot, but that tree gave me a nice little kick and a good roll. Hard job on the upshot, even though it's a little on the lucky. Alright, on to hole 6. This is another very tight one. 423 feet through a really tight pure line. So I'm going with the forehand here with my D Model OS. And I turned that over, rolled my wrist on it. Not happy about that at all, because that's my like money shot. That's the shot I should always crush. But I got over on it just a little bit, giving me a pretty tricky approach to try to save my par. KJ USA. And I got pretty clean, but then I caught a tree right there at the end. So had I not cut that tree, I think I probably would have been in really good position. But now I am still circle 2 here, hoping to hit a putt. Perfectly online, but again, I just didn't give it quite enough juice. But it was actually a pretty decent putt, just needed a little bit more power behind it. Quickly tap that out and move on to hole number 7. Alright, so on to hole 7 here. It says 319 feet. I don't really believe that. But it is very uphill, and it plays way longer than 319 feet. Probably plays more like 450. It takes quite a rip to get up there. And I actually did rip it. As you can hear, though, I did not give it enough air. I was pretty frustrated because I thought that was a really good rip. I got into that disc pretty well, just didn't get enough air under it to give it a full flight. Pretty simple upshot. Give myself a circle 1 putt. That one upset me pretty bad. Not gonna lie, that one kind of put a damper in my mood, because that's not really something you can do. Alright, so this is where I accidentally went to the wrong tee pad. Started to get ready to take the shot and then realized, wait a second, I'm not at the long tee here, since it was my first time at the course. Alright, so hole 8, 441 feet, par 4. Pretty simple, but there's some trees in the way. Just didn't quite get over on it enough. Had I gotten over on it just a little bit more, I think it would have been parked actually. But still gave myself an outside look. I'm probably 80 feet or so. Not to be a footfall here. Alright, hole 9. This one's pretty simple, straight up the gut. Just gotta make this first gap. And that's what I did. Perfect shot for me with my forehand. Great thing about this course, the great design that they did was, so it's 27 holes. And it basically plays like 3 sets of 9. They did a great job of making sure each set of 9 ended back at the main parking area. But I was able to cash that birdie there. Great way to finish out the first 9. Alright, so hole 10 is another one that plays to my strengths. 400 foot. Plays for a forehand hyzer shot. And I just got over on it just a little bit. Just barely missed my line. And so that made this a much more difficult hole after that. I've got probably 260 to the hole here. Using my 750 A1. The A1 steak sauce, that thing is straight beef. And I was a little afraid of the hill. Played it a little short. So now I've got this 50, 60 foot death putt for the par. Alright, that was a tough hole. Gotta get clean through the drive or that's gonna be a killer. This is a freaking death putt area over here. Alright. Bogey. Alright, on to hole 11. So this one, the actual tee pad is way back, but I wanted to get a good filming area. So this is the short pad. And there goes the disc over top. Hear it whizzing by. So the tee pad is actually about another 150 feet or so back there. Not a great shot. This is my first time using this camera. But I was able to can the birdie, which was great after that bogey. Made me feel a little better about myself. And the bugs were horrible that day. Alright, on to hole 12. This one was probably one of the easier holes. And I sawed it off so hard. Probably chose the wrong disc. I threw the A1 there. Probably should have done the FX2. And I've got this pretty obstructed upshot here. Little touchy forehand. I was able to get myself into the circle. Not many people on the course actually this day, but ran into a few. And I was able to save my par. That's that scary range for me. That 20 to 22 feet probably is scary for some reason. Hole 13, this is a big par 4. Super dog leg right, so sets up for my forehand. So there was a big creek over there. I was a little worried about the flex, so I didn't really commit to the shot. And there's a sweet jiggly belly for you. But still wasn't a horrible shot, had a decent lie. The hole's just around that corner to the right. And I picked the wrong disc and threw that thing so flat. Not the upshot I was looking for. See it right over there. So I went from having a chance to give myself an easy birdie look to now I am shooting my 4 right here. And that is a bogey that I should not have taken. Call this a tap in for 5. I don't even deserve to touch the basket. This place is absolutely beautiful. If you get a chance to go to Seneca Creek, whew, do it. All right, hole 14 is another par 4. Pretty long, pretty simple gap here. It's one of those, if you've got the arm, you can get that eagle look. And I caught those branches, and those little branches knocked it down quite a bit, pushed me into a tree. Luckily stayed safe of that creek right there, so hoping to get up and down for my birdie here, but we'll see. All right, so I actually hit circle 1 right here, and you can barely see it, but it rolled about 25 feet backwards. So now I'm about, I think, 55 feet out for my birdie look. And I canned it. That is a putt I do not make very often, but because I knew I didn't have anything to worry about, I put a lot of oomph on it because I had that backstop to kind of land on. Last one on camera. This is turtle number, hold on, let's see here. Turtle number 3. Hey dude. Say hello. Alright, hole 15. It says 318, I don't really believe that. Plays a little longer, it's uphill as well. Throwing the MX3 right into the tree. Loud smack. Fatigue's kind of setting in, but I'm at that point where I'm like, I don't know if I'm playing well or bad, so I'm just kind of having a good time. The course is beautiful, and just honestly had a great time getting to know this camera a little bit and playing with my Prodigy discs, which I'm starting to really love. And that was a pretty weak upshot, you'll see here. I didn't have the great angle here on the camera, but I am coming from the far left here. Put myself 65, 70 out. But didn't quite give it a good run. Alright, on to hole 16. So this one is another one that is just a tight little gap, but it shouldn't be too bad. You want them to finish left. So I'm using another MX3. And I just got over on it just a little bit.
So I am on hole 16 of 27. Yeah, 27. 16 of 27. And I didn't bring water or Gatorade. It's almost 90 and it's humid. I thought for sure there'd be a gas station pretty close to the course, but by the time I realized I was coming up on the course, it's past everything. Definitely bring water.
Alright, so here's where I landed. Not a bad shot, but 297, perfect little angle. That's something that I want to be able to get every time. Actually, I almost put that disc in. Decent putt to finish the hole with the par. Alright, hole 17. Got my wide dry. Wide dry chalk bags, best on the market. I've got my Kestrel Pro driver. I work for Kestrel, they're a great company. And I did not give that disc its justice.
So a quick pro tip. When you're trying to throw the disc, right? You're trying to get it to go pretty good distance. Throwing it directly into the ground, not a good idea. It's not.
Alright, so camera settings are a little off here at the bright spots, but another forehand approach, and that thing literally was probably inches away from hitting the chains.
Yeah, definitely almost parked that one. Well, I did park it, almost canned it. Thanks, Tom Reichel, for the stamp. There we go.
All right, on to hole 18. This is a beautiful hole. Takes definitely a two-shot hole. It's playing uphill, D model OS. So for me, the shape of the hole, I'm gonna rip a forehand. And I laced this thing. Got the right angle. Needed a little bit more air, but you know, I put myself in a really good position. I probably threw it 325 or so. But 325 uphill is more like 400. So I'm a little over 100, 125 out here. Simple upshot. And now I've got a chance to finish another set of 9 with a birdie. And I did it. Pumped. And here comes the wind. And there goes my camera. This is why you need a monopod. Someone else when you have a monopod.
Just finished the first 18. Actually doing pretty well, I think. About to start hole 19. I really don't want to play the last 9 because I'm dead. Literally dead. But can't do that. Can't just quit. So I'm gonna finish it. Had some melted Taco Bell water. That's disgusting, but that's all I had.
Alright, so hole 19 starts off a pretty simple hole. Not a big gap to hit, but something that any advanced player should be able to hit. 371 feet, right up the gap. And I got over on a little bit too much. I think you can kind of see that that's kind of been the norm for me lately. I think that might have something to do with the fact that my arm speed, I think, is getting stronger. I think I'm getting a faster speed with my arm with some technique that I've been working on, and so I think that's kind of been hurting me a little bit because I haven't adjusted to it. So I need to throw maybe a few more overstable discs to compensate for that, or adjust my release angles a little bit more. So we'll see. Gonna keep working in that field. Almost made that putt. Not happy at all about making a bogey on that hole. It's not really one that you should bogey at all. Alright, so 342 feet. This thing, you got to get through that gap, and then it really cuts to the right. Really cuts to the right. So I've got this overstable Spectrum D1, and I absolutely turned that over. Super upset about that. And I've put myself in a really difficult position. I went aggressive, tried to get all the way down, and instead I threw it into a tree. So now I've got a pretty difficult shot to try to give myself a throw in for a par. You can kind of see here I have really no lane at all. There's a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. So I'm trying to get this really sneaky gap. Touch forehand with an A3 and 300 plastic. I was able to give myself a good look. Pretty happy to save my par there, my bogey there, especially with that upshot. All right, already into hole 21. This one I don't really believe is the distance that it is. I looked at it and I was like 413. So I grabbed a different disc, and I think the disc that I did have would have been fine. But I went ahead and grabbed this D Model S in Duraflex plastic. Pretty decent shot, but I had a little bit too much height, so it caught the last branches, kind of the guardian tree there. So I'm looking at a 55, 60 footer. Didn't really give it a chance at all. I'm just straight dead at this point.
Alright, so I got 6 holes left. I've literally got no energy. 0. I made a horrible mistake. Horrible. Don't forget water. Quick little tap in.
Alright, on to hole 22. Got the KJ USA out again. And I made it a little more flippy, right into the only tree that you could possibly hit. And I had a really good upshot. I used the A1 again. Put myself in a good position to get my par here. and weak side chained out. Story of the day. Alright, so we're on to hole 23. This one is also definitely not 260. And I smacked the tree, but you know, it's fine. Chance for a good upshot. So I've got my P Model S and base grip. It's a good straight shot disc for me, and I just absolutely fluffed it. Gave it nothing. Literally zero energy.
No energy left. I got nothing.
So super easy hole. Left myself probably 65, 70. And I did not get it. So I'm going to take another bogey.
Alright, coming up on another tap and bogue. 23 holes in. There we go.
Alright, hole 24. This one is pretty far uphill, so it plays more about like 400. I've got my Spectrum D1. Thing is a pretty beefy disc. Gonna do a flex forehand. And I really got into that. Caught a little branches that knocked it down. I needed a little bit more height, but there wasn't really any height to be had. So I think it's gonna be more of a roller hole, but I'm not really confident in my roller capabilities at this time, so. Pretty simple upshot. What's crazy is, I mean, you can see how many shots I've left out on the course here. I think PDGA, the PDGA rating thing that they have on their app, said that my rating for this round was around 970, which surprised me quite a bit. But then I went and looked back at some past tournaments here, and it actually was pretty accurate. So I really think I could have shot much better. Hole 25. 332 feet, par 3. Alright, so this was the wrong disc choice. I could see another basket further down, and so I was playing to that basket. You can't see it based on the angle, but it's to my left about another 100 feet. And I was playing to that basket, which did not bode well for me. So I went a little deep, almost couldn't find it, but was able to find it in this thick stuff. Give myself a circle 2, and you can kind of see, I just get my foot in there. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just chucking this up here. I'm not really giving it everything. I'm just done at this point. I'm like, I just gotta get these last holes recorded so I can actually have the whole thing recorded.
Alright, 2 holes left. So part of the issue that I'm finding is sometimes you can see 2 different baskets that belong to 2 different holes from this tee. And if you can't quite figure it out, you can sometimes go long, because that one I went about 60 long because I chose the wrong disc. So on to hole 26.
Alright, so here we go, hole 26. You kind of need a pretty tight line here. It goes around to the right and then back up to the left through that little gap. I had the right line, but didn't get clean through, got knocked down by a couple branches. This is one of those holes that I don't really know how somebody could actually get there. You would have to have one powerful backhand screaming on a low line and have an amazing skip. So That was a horrible upshot. Should have been parked, but instead I put myself like 45 feet out. Now I've got like a 45-foot uphill shot, which is not what I wanted. But I made it. You're seeing a trend here when I know I have some room to run it because I've got, you know, a pretty good landing zone behind it. I actually give it the air that it needs, so I just need to start doing that. Be more confident with my putts when I'm going. So now I'm in a hole 27. This is a great finishing hole. Great. So you've got two different options here on the left and right. 500 feet, par 4. I'm using my D Model OS backhand. And I gave it nothing. My settings were a little off on the camera, so it's hard to see, but I literally just threw that thing right into the ground. Gave it no air at all. So now I am thrown into some trees. KJ USA.
So that was a terrible drive on that last hole, but I just played really aggressive shot for my upshot. I think it paid off. I don't know how far. Judge the distance is a little off right now, but let's see. The basket's up this way. This is the gap I played through. I played right in between these two trees right here. And I think it may have paid off real well. I'm either deep or a little to the left. As you can see, this is not an easy approach the way I took. What's that? Hey.
All right,
Yeah,
so
that paid off.
parked it. Pretty pumped because I did not think I had a chance for the birdie there. So as you can see, I left a lot of strokes on this course. Should have easily been 5 or 6 strokes further down. So that was really exciting for me to play as well as I think I did. I think this COVID practice has really helped me out.
All right, so I finished off with a birdie, which is awesome. Always good to finish on a strong note. I'm dying. I don't know if you can see, this shirt is not that color. But I shot +2 off the white tees. I'm gonna ask the locals if that's good or not. I don't really know. But it feels like it's pretty solid. 27 holes, only go +2. We'll see. Thank you guys for watching. Hope it was good. Catch you next time.